Hey guys, welcome to Toy Shop. Today we're working on a Ski-Doo Formula Deluxe 500.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drip.
Alright, so the next thing we're going to check is the power valves. So we're going to take a look at this and see when the last time this has been serviced, see how bad they look. So on these R.A.V.E valves, this little steel clip just rocks up out of the way. Get this cover papped off. Don't lose that little spring in there. So now we got this cover off. Now we're gonna have to pull this centerpiece out. Pop this bladder off of here. Take this plastic part out. This little spring that went around the outside. I'm going to pop the bladder itself off. Now there's two little bolts, one here and one here. Once we get them off, it should separate off the cylinder right here. Then we take these off and clean them. Now before we can reassemble all this after it's clean, we got to make sure you do have to get new gaskets for the power valves, because there is a gasket right here. We don't really want to reuse those, so that gasket right there. Yep, that's supposed to pull out of there. Just kidding. We have two stuck power valves, and that's not good. So that one I got stuck trying to pull on it. So, I guess we're going to spend a little time under here still. Great. Alright, so I measured the thread on this, and it comes out to be an 8 by 1.0. So I think what I'm going to do is tomorrow is I'm going to go to hardware and buy a nut and a couple washers. Because the only thing I can think of is I think we're just going to have to work it back and forth. I've got a slide hammer, so I think I'm going to put a nut on this with a washer and then grab onto it and just try to tap it out and then tap it back in. Just kind of work it in and out and in and out. I took the exhaust manifold off of this so I could see up in there. And this valve definitely is not opening hardly at all. This one's got a lot more play, but I just can't get it to come. So we're going to get a nut and we're going to try to persuade this a little bit. Right now I got it soaking with WD-40. Hopefully that'll kind of break up some of the carbon while it sits, and it shouldn't hurt the motor, and it should burn it out of it once we get this thing fixed and running again. So, alright, see you tomorrow. Alright, so I let these soak all last night, and I stopped at hardware today and I got a nut and some washers, so we're going to see if we can get these to tap out, hopefully. Alright, so I got two different size washers, one a little bit bigger so it's going to be easier to grab with the slide hammer, and one that's going to fit nice on the bolt. Or the nut. Thread this all the way on. Moving. All right, that one is out. Sweet. All right, let's try the one that was really stuck. Oh boy.
Like 504, ball like AD24. No sleep, me more. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I'm a real one, my day ones. Try speak up, can't say none. Try dig, but there ain't none. I make the money that save up. 10 to 80, my save on. Take to the top on the baseline. I remember nights I was poured out. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and I get it up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drip, yeah, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and I get it up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Ew. So there they are. Alright, so we parts washed this thing to try to get all the wet stuff off of it, all the oil and WD-40 and stuff like that I sprayed on it. It doesn't look too bad, but what was holding us up is all this dark, heavy, black, burnt two-stroke oil and carbon and stuff, and we gotta get that stuff cleaned off. I like to just use a wire brush on a bench grinder. It works pretty well. It's not too aggressive. You don't want to spend too much time in one spot, but you definitely got to get all this dark carbon off. Once we get these cleaned up, then we're gonna have to start cleaning out the cylinder head, or the cylinder hole. So, all right.
Whoa, I hit recorded, drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets. When I'm performing, never boring, now you can't afford it. Champagne Perrier, vintage frames on my face. Looking like I'm from the deep, these no Cartiers. Pockets deep, bro.
Next step is to get these holes cleaned out where the power valves slide in and out of. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take and we're gonna put the cylinder below, or the piston below the exhaust port, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a rag in there, a fresh rag, and then we are going to start scrubbing and soaking this port right here. And I don't want all that to get in the motor, so we're just gonna pack a rag in there. We're only gonna do one cylinder at a time. But we're gonna get out our little brushes and get down in there and try to get that cleaned out, and then we'll just start test fitting it with our now clean power valve. This is the little kit I'm gonna be using to scrub out the power valves. I'm pretty sure I picked it up at Harbor Freight. It's just a little bore brush kit, and it comes in handy for little stuff like this. So I grabbed a brush that's gonna be a snug fit down in that hole, and then I got a handle on it just so I can scrub a little bit. I'm gonna use just a little bit of carburetor cleaner, just because it's a little more aggressive than WD-40. Now I'm gonna kind of hose it out. Should all come out the exhaust port. I'm gonna pull this rag out. All right, now we're gonna take our power valve. Yeah, that's how it should fit. All right, I'm gonna get this surface scraped off for our mating gasket, and then we're gonna do the same thing the other side, and we're gonna start putting her together. All right, so I got everything cleaned up off screen. I got this gasket scraped off of here, and I got this cleaned up pretty good. We already had this cleaned up. I wiped everything else off, so it's gonna go back together clean. If we look in here, there's a weep hole down here. All weep holes usually go to the bottom, just so gravity will help drain any fluid out of this sealed cavity once it's all assembled. And then another note to take is there's a passage down here, and our gasket has 2 holes on it. So we gotta make sure those 2 holes end up down here. All right, so as long as your gasket's going the right way, I'm gonna make sure that your power valve says top, and you stick it in that direction. Now I'm going to slide the gasket on and slide this base piece on. Now she's torqued to spec, my spec. Now we have the bladder and stuff to put together, which I've been playing with this and I still don't know the best way to do this. What we're going to try to do, stick the base on. Make sure that that spring right there looks good all the way around still. I'm going to try to work this plastic in. Alright, so now that's in. I think I want to do it this way before I screw the plastic part onto the stem, just so it sticks out farther and I can get this spring on, and then we'll just slowly twist this on without hurting anything. Alright, that wasn't too bad. I just used a little hook pick. Alright, she's tight. Now this is probably the easiest part. We're gonna stick this metal ring right here on these tabs. These are the hinges for it. I'm gonna shove it up there. Stick the spring on it. Put our cover back on. Of course, nothing's easy. Alright, I'm going to pry this back a little bit. Alright. So with a little pushing and prying and praying, got her on there. Alright, I kinda, because this clip is on at an angle, because that's where the hinges are, we need these rails right here to also kind of be at the same angle, so that when we pull it down, it lines up halfway decent. Alright. Alright guys, if you guys found any of this helpful, please consider subscribing. And if you've got any other Ski-Doo issues, check this playlist over here or somewhere on the screen. See if you can find anything in there that'll help you out. So until next time, peace.